Are you maybe thinking about getting a parrot and you want to know if it can be potty trained? You're in the right place. The answer is yes, no, and there's so much more beyond potty training. So, hey guys, I'm Kaylin, the author of the Parrot Bliss Bond and the author of the new book, Get to Know African Gray Parrots and Cape Parrots. In this blissful video, we are going to talk about whether or not parrots can be potty trained and so much more. If you are used to hanging out, then you already know that I have over 20 species of parrots. I love my parrots. My parrots are my bliss and are pulling my hair right now. Oh, there she goes. I see. Maybe we'll get a different parrot. My mission is to help you have a blissful bond with your parrot, decreasing the need for rescues. Let's get started. I had someone ask me if parrots can be potty trained. They were looking at getting an African gray. I think they were like ready to get the African gray, but they wanted to know, were they going to be spending all of their time cleaning up after the African gray? The answer is yes. Or can they be potty trained? The answer is yes, no. So what do I mean by that? And what do I mean by plus there's so much more? Earlier on my shoulder was my yellow-naped Amazon Lorenza. Now you've got my white-capped Pyonis Ale. Hi, Ale. Because I have over 20 species of parrots, I have this unique vantage point where I can speak to what a parrot that's potty trained is like versus not, and that kind of thing. Like I can really tell you from experience. Now, there is such a thing as doing potty training, and I'll talk about that in a second, but I want you to first understand that some of it is the parrot themselves. Ale, for example, it just doesn't seem like it's really in him. He's not potty trained. I don't know if he ever will be. And honestly, it's not something I really seek out to do because I don't want my parrots to learn to hold their droppings. Birds have droppings all the time. The smaller the parrot, the more droppings, the larger the parrot, the less frequent, but the bigger the dropping. So parrots naturally have a lot of droppings because they are meant to lose as much weight, like drop it before they fly. And so they naturally do go to the bathroom a lot, and they naturally do go wherever they are because generally speaking in the wild, they're up in a tree of some sort, and when they drop something, they never see it again. They are not going to walk in it. They're not going to anything. And so they're very clean animals because way down there, however many feet down their dropping is, they never see it. So parrots are not built to hold their droppings. Instead, they're actually really built to drop them. They're built to go to the bathroom frequently. That means that when a parrot does hold their droppings, which sometimes they do at night, for example, my African grays, what a lot of parrots do at night, but my African grays is a really good example. They do hold their droppings and at night, and that's because if they're somewhere where they're going to drop it, or like in a nest box, they don't want to soil that. So they'll wait until they wake up in the morning, and then in the morning they'll go do somewhere else in the tree or whatnot, and then make their morning deposit and then go somewhere else, kind of thing. Again, that's not to say that that deposit is anywhere they're going to be around. Like it still goes down to the ground, kind of thing, but it keeps their area clean. When they do that, it is not uncommon that even though a parrot's poop is not supposed to smell, it can be that the first droppings of the day do smell. Why? Because they held on to it during the night and it collects some bacteria. So what you smell is the bacteria. This means that bacteria in their body, that's not really supposed to be there, that's collecting, not such a good thing. This is why, for me, I have enough parrots that we just clean all the time. That is a part of the lifestyle with anyone who has, any significant amount of parrots. Like if you have a big aviary and your parrots, whatever size they are, if they're flying around in an aviary, you might not have a mess in your house. But if you have your bird in your house, like Ale is just hanging out with me, then there's going to be a certain amount of cleaning that is necessary. Why do I say that there's so much more? And I did say I was going to talk about training them. The reason I say there's so much more is because their droppings are just the beginning of it. That's like not the hard part about having a parrot. So I want you to really keep that in mind, because if you're thinking about getting a parrot and you're like, oh, you know what? I really want that African gray that can talk. The African grays aren't loud, like my Amazons are loud. So I think I will get this bird because I can clean up a few droppings, a dropping every now and then or whatever, because it's a medium to large size bird that doesn't have frequent droppings, just, one every, I don't know, half hour, something like that. Give or take something like that. And it varies, right? It's not like an alarm goes off and they poop. So if you're thinking, okay, I can handle that, I want you to realize that there's so much more. You have to make sure that you meet all of their needs. And I just did a video on how those needs are exigent, because you have to understand the species, you have to understand their social needs, you have to understand their beaky needs, because these beaks all require wood and toys, mental engagement, stimulation, a bond, a social structure, vegetables, and then maybe some nut fat. So there's a lot more to it on a daily basis with a parrot. So please bear that in mind. Now, as far as training parrots, some parrots are really easily trained, or you don't have to train them. For example, my macaw and my golden conure. My macaw has never had a dropping land on myself or my husband. Maybe it's because her body is so much bigger that by the time she's on my shoulder, her body sticks out a lot more. But that's not it. They just are, I think, a little more aware of their droppings. Their droppings are bigger, so they'll go somewhere else. And you can also feel them starting to wiggle. So you often know when it's coming and you can move them around. How are you doing, Ale? I know, you see the parrot let down there, huh? Where are you going? Where are you going, Ale? My golden conure, for whatever reason, she just doesn't really poop on us. She sort of lets you know because she starts to wiggle, but she tries to get off me to go do her dropping somewhere else and then come back to me. So some of it is the parrot itself. Are you okay there? Okay. And some of it is you can train them to try to at least go somewhere else. What you do is sort of figure out the frequency of your parrot's droppings. Smaller parrots, it could be every 10 to 15 minutes. Larger parrots, like I said, half hour to an hour. And then you could set an alarm at this point, and every time the alarm goes off, you give them a chance. Where are you going? You give them a chance to be somewhere else, like literally just off of you, and give them a few minutes to poop, or put them on a perch that you're gonna call a poop perch. They're really good at habitual things. So you put them on the perch and you wait for them to fly off and not do things well for you or poop, and then you come and get them and you tell them, good job, good poop. If you can, you reward the behavior so that hopefully they link the action to the behavior. Oh, I thought maybe she wanted to come, but she flew away. And as you practice that, they get better at it and they figure it out, and then they can get much better about not necessarily dropping on you. So when it comes to can a parrot be trained, potty trained? The answer is yes, if you do the training according to their natural behaviors. Then it makes it so much easier to hang around and hang out with your parrot. Thank you for joining me in this potty-filled video. I will catch you in the next feathery video. Ale!